Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to do a video about all the things you are probably doing wrong when it comes to using a random orbit sander on your guitar body. Okay gang, I hear this all the time. I can sand, I know how to sand, and 9 times out of 10, the person who says that has no idea what they're doing when it comes to using a random orbit sander or even a piece of sandpaper, just like a raw piece of sandpaper here. Hey, tape, get over here. I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things that we do here at the shop that might make your lives easier in your home shops. So let's jump right in. First, the random orbit sander is a really awesome tool. I like this one from Rigid. We also have these DeWalt's. These are really good. But no matter which one you get, some things that I want you guys to kind of keep your eyes open for is make sure I don't think you can get one without, but make sure you get one with one of these Velcro pads on the sander, so you can just stick the sanding discs right on there. Like I say, I don't think you can buy one without that now, but if you've got one of the old school square kind of buzzing sanders, they won't have Velcro necessarily. So if you get the random orbit, make sure you get the one with the hook and loop. Again, I don't think you can't. The other thing is dust collection. These guys will kick up a ton of dust, especially when you're using something like 80 grit like I've got on this guy right here. So we have experimented with dust collection. Above me, I have an air cleaning setup. It's just a fan that pulls air across a filter and ejects it out the other side. But the other thing that you have to have is some sort of vacuum attachment. Don't use those little I don't even know where they are anymore. The little things that go on here and are supposed to catch the dust. They work okay, but if you don't want to wear a bunch of dust and you don't want to breathe a bunch of dust and you don't want to wear a respirator all day every day, having a vacuum attachment is the hot setup. Now, we have landed on these dishwasher drain hoses. These are like exactly perfectly fit for, so dig this. This one goes like exactly right in the rigid sander, and they go really close to fitting exactly perfectly onto the DeWalt, though not quite as good. You kind of gotta put them in there and twist. When the vacuum's going, it works great, but you kind of gotta put it in there. You'll notice this does not have a 2-inch opening. It only has this little smaller, like whatever that is, 1 and something. You could put the big shopvac hose onto your vacuum, but then you've got this considerably larger hose, considerably less flexible, and considerably heavier setup than just this very light dishwasher drain hose. So these are super cheap too. You'll need to figure out some way to fit these to your shop vac, but you guys are smart. That's not going to be a big deal. So dishwasher drain hose, pro tip right here from your friends at Texas Toast Guitars. The other thing that I see all the time is people using burnt up dead pieces of sandpaper. Get rid of those pieces of sandpaper. If you start with something that has a lot of bite to it, use the sandpaper. Here's what we always say: use the sandpaper like somebody else is paying for it. I can't tell you guys how many times I see people laboring with dead sandpaper. It's not cutting, and you would be doing yourself a huge favor by switching pads. The other thing is you've got to go through all the grits. Now, someone's going to say, no you don't, blah blah blah, because I've heard it all before. These came off the thickness sander. We have a 60 grit drum on the thickness sander. So we're going to go through all the grits. We're going to go 80, 100, 120, 150, and then up to 220, and we'll be ready to go. Now, someone out there, I know for a fact, because I've made this video kind of before, and I got this, people were like, no, that's not true. Let me tell you, if you use an 80 grit piece of sandpaper and it's all dull, it doesn't make it 100 grit or 150 grit or 220. It just makes it dull. No matter what kind of sandpaper you have, I don't care where you buy it, how much money you spend on it, 80 grit is 80 grit, 220 is 220. You can't use one until it becomes the other. That's not how sandpaper works. So go with 80, and like I say, you got to go through all the grits. We're going to go 80, 100, 120, 150, and then up to 220. The other thing is know when to stop sanding. They make, 1200 grit paper for these Orbital sanders. On raw wood, 220 is more than enough. In fact, sometimes for some finishes, that's too much. Consult if you're using stain, consult whatever's on the can and use what they recommend that you use. And so like if they say stop at 150, don't go to 300 or 400 thinking you're going to get that much better. Stop where the manufacturer recommends. We're going to go directly into sealer on these guys. So we're going to go to 220 because that's the magic number, says me. So let's go ahead and fire up the sander and we'll walk you through some of these steps. Okay, I got my sander hooked up with my disc that I'm going to be using. I got my vacuum hose hooked up and I got my piece ready. Couple of things. I see people really bear down on these sanders. Really, I just sort of hold it. There's enough weight in this sander to do everything that you need that grit of paper to do. You don't need to push down on it. All you're going to do if you do that is you're going to burn up your Velcro. So just kind of hold it steady and let the sander do the work. That should be the rule with any tool. Let the tool do the work. Don't be the tool doing the work. The other thing is we want to make sure that we get the scratches of the previous grit out before we proceed to the next finer grit. So on this one, I've got to get some 60 grit scratches out. I'm going to use 80 to do that. When I go to 100, I'm going to get my 80 grit scratches out with that, and so on, and so on, and so on. The other thing that I see all the time is people start the tool up here, put it down on the guitar, and then start sanding. But what they really do is they start the tool up here and put it down at an angle like this, and they put a big crescent into their guitar. One way around that is to start with the tool on the body, turn the sander on, turn the sander off before you pick it up. Unless you're really, really good, Chris can do it where he starts it up here and puts it down, and then what he sometimes does when he goes off is he goes off to the edge. He doesn't try to pick it up, because when you pick it up, see what I mean? You could dig into it right there. When you put it down, it's likely that you'll put one in there. So, all right, enough of the bullshit talk. Let's start sanding. One of the things I like to do is start and stop my sander over somewhere where there's going to be a plate or a big piece of plastic. That way if I do get any crescents in there, it's not as big of a deal. Okay guys, so one other thing I forgot to tell you about. All of your sanders that you buy that are made like these days have a speed control. I rarely go above halfway as fast as it'll go for the guitar projects that we do here at Texas Toast. Give it a try and see what you think. You might like to go a little faster than that. You might like to go a little slower. So, sanding is the bane of the existence of the guitar builder. Nobody that I know who builds guitars, even just for fun, loves sanding. Nobody wakes up and goes, woohoo, I get to sand today. But the random orbit sander and a couple of tricks really make the process be considerably less of a hassle. So remember, get your random orbit sander set up correctly, get your vacuum set up correctly, go through all the grits and make sure you get all the scratches out, and sanding will be not as big of a pain in the ass as it normally is. Guys, if you like this video, give me the thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you appreciate content like this, you might want to go over to our Patreon page and consider becoming a member. Even $1 a month goes a long way to helping us bring you guys neat stuff, helpful hints and tricks and hacks. Oh, Mrs. Toast hates that word. Like this. But if you can't do Patreon, we totally get it. Just share the video as many places as you can think of. I love to answer questions on videos. If you've got any of them, put them down in the comment section below. What Chris is grimacing. What did I do?
Just the idea that you love answering questions.
I know, right? Okay, guys, this is Matt at Texas Toast, reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care.